Okay, go ahead and put in the chat words, verbs, adjectives. What did you see on there? Some definitely movement, definitely. Awesome. Okay, so this one to tell you really quickly what this last one is. This is a fifth grade lesson, and it is on teaching the Revolutionary War. And the students are playing tug of war. And they first line up tallest to vertically challenged. And then you change the rules on them so that the blue team, the red team is the taller ones, the blue team is the vertically challenged, and you have the white team. But the whole idea is just like in the Revolutionary War, things changed. It wasn't always exactly the way that you think it is in the beginning. Movement, engagement, getting the kids excited about what they are going to be doing. Okay, so these are our social studies programs, Social Studies Alive elementary programs. You might see yours on here. Get super excited about it. And just want to go over with you pretty quickly what your program components are. We have the social studies stories, a little bit more information about particular topics. We have the teacher's guide, which is also on the online platform over here. Every single thing that you need in order to teach this lesson is also in the online program, your TCI account. We also have these activity cards. Activity cards are hard cardstock. They're in color. They are, I used to call them placards. Now they're called activity cards, but different lessons use them. It's just another thing for you to use to get your kids engaged in their learning. Might be something that you put around the room. It might be something that they come up and get. Not all lessons use those activity cards. Some of the lessons do, but just want to make you aware, you might see that activity card when you're looking at the lesson. Okay, TCI account right here. This is how it is set up. And it is separated into 4 different units. And we are going to be taking a look at that in just a minute when we go into the 3rd grade lesson that I'm going to go ahead and take you guys through. And then the student journal. This is a chance for students to record everything into a journal. They have the readings in there, and it matches up to what is in the online program. Okay, so this is just a quick, very quick overview of the student journal. If you do not have the student journal, there is a way to run off all this information too. Whoops. So it is not just, if you don't have it, you can't do it on there. That's not true. But you can see on here, it does have the reading on there, which makes it really helpful for the students. They do look at the reading and then they're able to go ahead and answer the questions too. It also goes along with the activities that are embedded throughout the program that does get the kids up, moving around, and getting them excited about what they are going to be doing. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead. Okay, so that went through all of them. But as you can see in there, no matter if it is K all the way up to 5, the content's going to be different, the reading level is going to be different, but the layout is basically going to be the same on there. So another thing too that I want you to look at is this is what is in your program. This is what TCI is all about. Engaging activities, ELA integration, and easy to use. Now, from a teacher perspective, the one down at the bottom, I really love the ones up at the top, but the ones down at the bottom are what kind of gets me excited, because I'm at that point now where I'm looking for easy to use. I don't want to have to go through and figure out everything and have to go to 25 different books. Everything is there ready for me to use. And I still used to make the joke, it gives me my Sundays back. My Sundays to me are watching football, especially in the fall coming up here. So it is definitely a way to get your Sundays back and get your weekends back because everything is there. It gives you all that information, all very, very, very easy to use. Okay, now I want to go over with you how the lessons are set up. All of the lessons are set up this way, whether it is K all the way to 5. All of our lessons start out with a preview assignment. Preview assignment, another way to call it, another educational word for you, might be hook. It might be intro. In my district, we called it launch last year. It is just a way to get the kids excited about the lesson that they are going to be doing. Now, please be aware when I say lesson, that might be a couple of days. It might not just be one. Some people call them chapters. So when I say lesson, that is going to be a multiple day working on that, whatever, on that particular chapter. I know in my district, we used to have 20 to 30 minutes, and we would alternate that with science. So as we go through this, I am going to be talking with you about timing and all of that, because that's one thing that was my concern when I taught 5th grade is how much time is this going to take me and when am I going to be able to fit all that in? So what that goes along with what I just said right here was you are going to start out with the preview. The preview is probably going to be about 20 minutes. It is a whole class instruction. Okay, it is a whole class. The next thing that you are going to do with the students is the activity. There is going to be text built around that activity, and each activity is one of our 6 TCI strategies. Okay, there are 6 of them. They're different in their own way. There's 6 interactive strategies. Back when TCI started in 1989, that's what it was built on, was those 6 strategies. And we kept them because it's really, really good teaching and built the curriculum around it. The next thing that you are going to be doing is the processing assignment. So, or summative. That processing can be used as a summative. We also have unit tests too, and lesson tests, chapter tests too, if you choose to do them. And an alternative to the lesson can also be an additional part of the lesson is the read and do. So all students are going to start out with that preview. Then they're going to go in and do the activity. Then they're going to go ahead and do the processing, the summative assessment, and if you choose, the read and do. Okay. Please, guys, if you have any questions, just go ahead and throw them in the chat. Sarah's there to help me answer any questions as we go through this. Okay, we also have added unit inquiry projects, which I'm going to be honest with you, very excited about. I teach in an IB school. That's what we do. We do unit projects, unit assessments. And I was so excited when I saw this because this is a chance for me to embed this in, and TCI has helped me out back to that ease of using. First, start out with a compelling question. Okay, got to have something exciting for them to build on. Then they're going to analyze disciplinary sources to build knowledge and answer supporting questions. So investigate. Then they're going to go ahead and analyze what they got. They're going to synthesize their learning to write an argument for the evidence. And the last step that they're going to do is they're going to take informed action through a variety of engaging options. So they have a question, then they're going to go ahead and investigate using all the analyzing, synthesizing, and then come up with a final action. Okay, so please, I'm going to show you where these unit projects are, something that can be interwoven throughout the whole entire unit. So just want to show you very quickly. Here's one right here. Okay. This is just a part of it. When it starts out with the gathering evidence, and then we are looking at a storyline. Okay, there's that compelling question right there. Okay, so you're going to have a chance to look in yours and see where you can find these unit inquiry projects. Okay, now another thing. This is super helpful too. Very, very, very flexible on what you can do with it. Instead of just saying you have to do it this way, if you don't, you're going to have to make all these changes. It has opened up for you this is what the main dashboard now looks like. So, hey, just want to get the reading done. That's what we're going to go ahead and go to. Just want to do the classroom activity. We're going to go ahead onto there. And then we have, this is a digging deeper. We have some time here. We're going to do some literature resources. And then down here, we're looking at what assessments we have available too. Okay, so definitely some flexible options over what you're able to do. Now I'm going to go ahead, when it says go live, I'm going to go ahead and go into my third grade program. I'm going to go ahead and go through a lesson with you guys. And while I'm doing this, please, please, please go ahead and follow along and watch as I go through it. You are welcome to have your own program opened up and kind of seeing where it is. If you are not a third grade teacher, K1, 2, 4, and 5, go ahead, because the content is going to be different, but how it's laid out is going to be the same. Okay, so when I went ahead and I opened it up, this is what I have here. The elementary program is broken up into geography, history, economics, and civics. Okay, and underneath it, this is the main page. This is my content page. I look over here on my left purple tool. I call it the purple toolbar, purple sidebar. And I have everything that I need over here in order to teach the lesson. This is content right here, okay? Another thing that I can also use, open it up, if you have your students go ahead and do any work online, is the dashboard. And what is really nice about the dashboard is it is going to, if a student has turned in any work to you, it is going to have on here exactly what is turned in. You'll see on here, I've got no work turned in, but it's going to come up on here. If I click on dashboard, any work, I know right away, hey, I have to go ahead and grade that work that a student has put in for me. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the content. And I'm going to go ahead and start with Unit 1. The lesson I'm going to be showing you is from Unit 1. And before I get started on there, you will see on here, I have some background information. Remember, it's going back to that unit inquiry project. How did Liberty State Park relate to geography and how humans interact with geography? So that is what I'm going to be looking at as I go through this unit. I have on here my unit openers, and then all of the closers, all of the social studies stories that are embedded throughout this unit. Okay. So let me go ahead, open it up. Now remember, it's separated out by unit. In the unit are my lessons. Okay, in the unit are my lessons. So I have 4 to choose from on here. And I'm going to go ahead and pick this very, very first one, which is explore the lesson for lesson 1. When I open it up on here, here is that what I showed you guys on there. I have my reading, I have my classroom activity, my digging deeper, dive deeper, dig deeper, dive deeper, and then my assessment. Also down on here, even though I'm not on the unit page anymore, I still get a little reminder here on what the unit project is. If I want to go right to there, show my students what they're going to be working on. Okay, that's all still right on this page. Okay, a couple other things that are also on this page to come to quickly is, where does civics fit into all of this? I can make a little connection back over to civics, my biographies, and these are going to be, the biographies are not just for this particular chapter, it's going to be for the whole book. So my students, if they want to make reference back to anything, they can do that. I can also go to the games, see every game in one place. You can see on here, it says coming soon. Okay. And the same with the videos. Okay. Some videos that go through and help us with the lessons, to help teach the lessons. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and do the classroom activity. So I'm just going to go ahead, click right on here. And this is what is available for me for this first lesson. The title of this lesson is Understanding the Geography of the World. Okay. What do I want my students to know by the end of this chapter? Where in the world is our community? So since this is under the geography unit, I know I'm going to be looking at and working on mapping skills. That's what I'm going to be working on. One of the first things that I do when I get ready to teach a lesson is I hop on over to this planning part here. This planning part here is super, super helpful for you to see about timing and what exactly is all in this lesson. Also down here too, you're going to be able to tell that too. But I just find since this is all in one place, ready to go, this overview is super, super helpful. So I know on here what the teaching strategy is. This is going to be a social studies skill builder. So I'm going to be practicing some sort of skill on here. It's got on here what my objectives are, both social studies and also language arts. And it does have on here an extension, something a little bit more than just the reading, which is my voyage into space part 1 and 2. Okay. And then I also have a hands-on activity in this particular lesson. So this is the first place I go to. So if you have yours open, once you click on a lesson, first place to go to is the planning. Now, also while I'm planning, what materials do I need? Okay. What do I need in order to teach this lesson? So this is my teacher stuff, my teacher supplied stuff. So I'm going to need a balloon. I'm going to need some glue sticks, markers, scissors, and tape. Now, these are what I need to print out. You will also find where these printed out ones are right on over here where it says materials. Okay. Now I'm going to show you the materials tab really quickly. Really important when you go ahead and start working on it, and why I say that, to take a look at it, is why I like to click on the materials is it is going to tell you exactly how much of it you need. So if you need 5 per class, it's going to tell you on here. It also is going to tell you if there's any safety issues on there too. Okay, glue stick is a consumption hazard and an allergy hazard, but there's also a place on here too for you to go ahead and have a PDF of it. Okay, have a PDF or action over here, which means you can download it or you can save it to your Google Drive. So that is a benefit of going over to the materials. The materials is there under the lesson overview. So all I got to do to go back to lesson overview, just click right back on it. So once I do that, I come over to my materials. Next is differentiated instruction. Everything for differentiated instruction is lesson specific. So you are not going to find a huge differentiated instruction for the whole entire book. Like try these, try these. No, it's going to be what to do with this particular lesson. So it has it for English language learners, special ed needs learners, learners reading and writing below grade level, and the most forgotten group of all, the advanced learners. Okay, so you're going to find that right on there. And if your students are super excited about it and you want to maybe incorporate this into science too, we also have enhanced learning. Enhanced learning is going to have some ideas for books, some literature ideas, and also some websites too to go onto that are about this particular topic. Okay, so I always start in planning. I always start with planning. What is in this? What am I getting myself into with this chapter? After I do that, I'm like, okay, I'm all ready to start teaching this chapter. I'm going to go on to my lesson activity. Okay, now lesson activity. See, it has all of this laid out. Remember, I said we start out with our preview, then we have our activity right here, and then we have a show what you know. Okay, so we have that all on here ready to go. It also has on here timing. Okay, it has on here timing. And another thing that's very helpful is on here, you can see the little hand. If you scroll over it, it's going to say about 15 minutes for activity and about 5 minutes reading time. So that's why I said activity, the previews usually are about 1 period. Okay, then we're going to head into our vocabulary, which is going to be about 10 minutes. It all depends on how you do vocabulary. Okay, and this is going to take a couple class periods. Same with this one. Notice they are extensions. Then we do have our hands-on activity. Now, this one is definitely going to take some time. because you have your hands-on part of it and you have about 30 minutes of reading. Okay. Now, if you're wondering, where do I do the reading in all of this? This will also help you out with that because it's going to tell you exactly when to do the reading. Huge help here. We have down here with the hands-on activity. And if you choose not to do it, it's going to be towards the end of after they do the activity. Okay. So I'm all set. I'm on here, ready to go. I go ahead. I've got my students in there. I'm all ready to start on the preview. I just go ahead, put the caret down. There I go. I am all ready. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I can enlarge this, but I want to have lots of space on here to be able to show you guys stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and read this, but I do have the ability, if I want to, I can enlarge it so it is the whole entire screen. Okay. Preview, remember, getting them excited about what they're going to be doing. So it's your first day at a new school. You've been assigned to classroom 5. Use this map to find your classroom. Okay. So remember, this is whole group instruction. So the whole class is up there, not individual. So you're going to be talking about this as a whole class. What helped you identify your classroom on the map? Do you think it would be easy for someone who didn't go to your new school to locate your classroom on this map? Why do we use maps? So we start out pretty easy questions and we're going to get a little bit more difficult. Now think about how you would draw a map of where your desk is located in your classroom. Draw the map in your activity notes. So on the student side of it, either whether it's online or in their journal, they're going to have this on there that is going to be drawing a map to the location of their desk. So we've already got them thinking about maps. Okay, we've already got them thinking here about maps. But you'll notice on here that there is another slide in the preview. So all I gotta do is just go ahead, click on here. And we know that we're going to be talking about space. We're talking about maps here. So astronauts need to know how to find places too. Just as we look down at your school's map, this astronaut is looking down at Earth and observing its geography. Geography means the study of Earth. So if I want to go ahead and read the intro of my class, I can go ahead and click right on here, or I can come on back here and go on to the reading right from here. So I can just go click on reading, and here we go. We're right on in the reading. The other one's also hyperlinked too. Okay. They're going to go ahead, do the reading right from there. Went back too far. There we go. Okay, so that's the activity, right? That's the preview. Okay, that's what's going to take about a class period. Okay, and doing along with the reading right over there too. Okay. After we get done with the reading, you are welcome to do the vocabulary. It all depends on how you do vocabulary. If you front load it or do it throughout. In the reading, these words are going to be in this color. Students will be able to click on them as they go through the reading and be able to find the definition. They can also use the vocabulary cards that are right here too. Okay. There it is on there. Okay, we can go through and talk about that too. Look at the definition. Okay. Okay. Got our vocabulary on there. Okay. Now you'll look on there. You can see on there, we're going to be putting it right on the map, label each image. So besides just doing the vocab, they're also seeing exactly where those words are on a map. Now remember, this is chapter 1. This is chapter 1. Okay. Now, the next part of this, I've gotten done with my preview. I've gotten done with my vocabulary. I'm going to be honest with you, vocabulary might be another day too. Okay, so you might use, or you can do them throughout. It's up to you. It's probably easier for your students if you want to do it this way. That way they're actually labeling something on there, completely up to you. They are going to be in their journals. Okay, we are going to go ahead and start on our first extension on here. Now, this super fun. Okay. kids are, what your students are going to be doing is, you can look on here, they are going to become astronauts, and they get to wear, you will have in your materials, you have this Space Explorer cutout that they can put right on their shirts. Okay. And they're going to lay down on the floor and they're going to get ready to blast off. And while they're on there with their Space Explorer badge on, you're going to go ahead. This is all embedded in there, so you don't have to worry about pulling in from any place else.
Space Shuttle flight controllers, give me a go, no go for launch. Booster, go. Retro,
Go.
guidance, go. Control,
Go.
Okay, so it goes for 50 seconds. And let me just go ahead and we're going to skip all the way to the end. Look at that. You can see right on there. Get excited here. And with my student, we'd be shaking over there because that's what the space shuttle does. Well, we don't have the space shuttle anymore. The rockets, we have a little SpaceX going on now. Okay, so they are ready to blast off into space. Now, we are going to be learning about, if you look up at the top here, hemispheres, oceans, and continents. Another audio for them to listen to. Okay. You are now high above space looking down on Earth, but oh no, listen to what happens.
come in Space Shuttle, come in Space Shuttle. Can you hear us? This is NASA Control. We seem to be losing radio contact. You're going to have to make an emergency.
Okay. I have to make an emergency landing on there. That's how we're going to learn about our hemispheres. Okay. We're going to be learning about our hemispheres. We're going to be reading section 1. Okay. Going to be reading section 1. We're going to talk about the different equator, the prime meridian, the 4 hemispheres, because that's what we're doing in this first one. Okay. Then we're going to go to section 2, which is the, our community. Wait a minute, Section 2, our community is on a continent. We're going to learn about continents. Woo. Got that on here. We'll also have another audio in there. Okay, so you will be going through, as you can see, this is the last one on here. This is the last one on here. Along with the continents are also learning about the oceans. Over here, if you click on the side here, it's going to tell you exactly what materials that you are going to be needing, along with teacher prep too. I want to go ahead, and I've already done with that extension. I just go like that, and I can go down to the second one. Okay, then we're going to be learning about, so in this chapter, they go from very large, which is hemispheres, oceans, and continents. And now we're going down to countries, states, and communities. Okay, embedded throughout is telling you exactly what section to go on to, getting you that ease of use back in there, along with exactly where they need to, where the students need to be. Okay, 7 slides in this one. Okay, and if you choose to do it, you can see on there, that's why the 45 minutes is in there. I'm looking at, I'm going to bet you this is going to be about 4 or 5 days. Okay, about 4 or 5 days. The first time, the first section is going to be a little bit more difficult for them because it's something like they've never used before. And as it gets a little, as you go through the sections, it gets a little bit more ease of use. Okay, if I choose to do it, there is a hands-on activity. This hands-on activity is the one with the balloon. What they're going to be doing on there is they're going to be creating a 3-dimensional model of Earth. Okay, having to go back and talk about those continents and hemispheres and oceans and communities. Okay, this, I'm going to be honest with you, this balloon idea kind of scares me a little bit, but it can be done. I've seen it done before. It scares me because I can just, I can see it in my head. I can see it in my head, but not at, you can skip it, but it is also something great to do with your kids. Okay. And you can also see on here, there is some additional reading on there, and there is the 30 minutes hands-on. Here is the reading, if you didn't do the extensions. Okay, this is also in their journals too. Okay, this is also in their journals. Yeah, look, it's got my Florida on there. Okay. And there's the balloon. Okay. So last thing is to show what you know. So they're going to have to take what they learned and do something with it. Okay. So they're going to review the summary, then complete the formative assessment on your activity notes to show what you know. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Okay. And this is going to be under the student side of it. But if you just click on activity notes, you see what I did right there. What they're going to do is they're going to create a map to show where your community is located. And it has step-by-step directions on there for them to do. Okay. Got a big empty spot in the middle there to help them draw out where their community is. So they're going to have to take what they learned in order to complete this. And then the last part is your study your community. Where in the world is your community? Now you'll notice no timing on here because this is extra. Okay. So if you have time on here and your kids are excited about this, welcome to do it. Just something to kind of look at, see if it is something that would also benefit your students. So let me go ahead and go over with you really quick where we see that lesson cycle. I'm just turning on my carrots in here. So students are going to start out with the preview assignment that also has in there the introduction. Then they're going to go ahead and go to vocabulary. Then we have our reading parts in here, along with a hands-on. And this particular lesson does have a hands-on activity. Show what you know. And then the last part would be show what you know. This last part on here, study your community, as I said, is additional extension on there. That's why you do not see the timing on there. Okay. So once students get done with this right here, once they get done with it, a couple different things that you can do. You can use this show what you know as a formative assessment. You can also go on over and use the lesson game too. Okay, there is a lesson game. Every one of them has a lesson game. And this one's understanding the geography of the world. Students, you can do this as a whole class, or they can do it individually. You can assign it to them. Okay, so you just go ahead, click on it. That is, hopefully I get it right. It is the equator. Correct answer. When I get a correct answer, I am going to get a point. If I put on here, oh, I got that one right, but I do get another chance. I do get another chance. And I did get it right, and I get half points. Okay. So as I said, they can go through, and this particular one is separated out by the sections. This one is separated out by the sections. So if you want to have them read a section, then you come over and do the lesson game. Another way too, as I said, you can also have them complete this as a formative assessment. Okay. Okay. And the last thing too, you can also, there's another thing you can do is you can actually give them an assessment. It is available on here. And I tell people too, you don't have to use this assessment tool as a big, humongous unit test or as a big chapter test. You can use this for exit tickets. You can use this for 2 or 3 questions that can be formatives. You can use it for a variety of things on here. There's so many different ways that you can use this assessment tool. Everything that you create on here is saved for the life of your adoption. So that is why I suggest anybody, if you just want to ask your kids, students a couple of questions at the end of each chapter, go on here, put it on here. They can do it online. If it's just multiple choice, it'll grade it for you. K1, not usually as much, maybe second, go ahead and getting them started a little bit in there, but it's just a tool that is there for you to use it for actual test or not for actual test. Okay, so in order to use this, I'm just going to go over this with you guys kind of quickly here, and then I want to go over some of the other tools that are available over here. So there's a couple of things that you have this big question bank that is here. there are 18 questions in here. So in whatever chapter that you might be looking on in your program, this is the amount of questions that are TCI created, plus people around the country that have this program, questions that they have created. If you put some exit tickets on here or some formative tests on here, and you share those questions that you created, it will say on here, it'll just say, like mine would say Florida teacher. It's not going to be associated with your name or anything like that, but it's just a nice thing to kind of share questions if you made them. If you're like, that's the best question I ever wrote, please go ahead and share it. We as teachers love to borrow from other teachers. So it's also super helpful too. Okay, over here are, and I'm kind of dating myself by saying this, these are the Black Line Masters, and these are TCI created. And you can just go ahead, you click on this. It's two tests, means English and Spanish. Okay, so there's only 14 questions in there. So when it says use this test, it's going to give you the ability to go ahead and assign it. And I'll go over assignments in just a minute. Preview, print, save it, assessment to your drive, save answer key to the drive. So you've got a couple of different options on there. And also too, once you get it on there, you can actually do some changes on there too. But those are just straight TCI questions. These are questions that people within your district have created. So if you work really closely with your team, and we'll all teach third grade, and we kind of rotate who does a little test or an exit ticket or some formatives, you can go ahead, and when it asks you if you want to share your tests, you can go ahead and share them right on in there. And it's only shared with people in your district. This is people throughout the United States. Okay. And to create these tests, all you have to do is you're going to click create new test. Give it a name. And you have a blank sheet right here. Okay, got a total blank sheet. You're going to go ahead. I'm just going to click all questions. Go ahead and click all questions. And what is going to show up are those 18 questions that are in the test bank for this chapter. Okay. Now I just have a couple of things you get to pick from. You can actually have more than one chapter together. You can do TCI only. You can do the prompts. You can also take questions from the notebook. So if you want to have some of those notebook questions as exit tickets or formative or whatever, you can just go ahead and take them right from there, or you can take them from the lesson game. Okay, I'm just going to get rid of the lesson game on here. Let's say I'm like, these are the best questions ever. And I'm going to go ahead and click add to test. Now, I will tell you this, and this is the number one question that I've gotten. I've gotten this question a lot. Let's say that there's actually 20 questions on here, 25 questions on here. When you click add to the test, make sure you look here and make sure it has all of them. If it doesn't, there will be a next button here. So let me go ahead. Hold on a second. Okay, so right now it only says 20. It's only going to let me add the ones that are in front of me. If I want to add more, I just click next. Go to the next one. And then it's got all of them. I can go ahead and I will add all of those to my test. Okay, they're all, oops, answer the question. One thing I want to do before I go ahead and put it on the test is, oh, it's not gonna let me scroll down. Do you see this right here where it says depth of knowledge? It's got tells you where it's from, who created it, where's the source, and this is a fill in the blank. It also will have a depth of knowledge for you too. Okay, so if you only want level ones, then you can go through and you can not pick the ones that are level twos. So I'm going to go ahead and add those to my test. And once they are on my test, this is my test. Once they are on here, I can do as many changes as I want to them. So if this is not a multiple choice question, that one is a fill in the blank. So let me go with the multiple choice questions. A little bit easier to one. If I don't like, I only want two distractors. So I'm going to go ahead. I can, take off that one. I can also add an image and make sure I save it. Once I make any changes to it, it's going to go ahead on here and tell me that I last time I edited it was right now. Okay, the last time I edited it was now. Okay, it was today's date. Once I'm done with it, that's a great test. I want to assign this to my students, and this is going to help me go ahead and do assignments. Okay, I can go ahead and click right on over here. So I'm all done. I have created my awesome exit ticket, formative assessment, 2-question test, whatever. I'm going to go ahead and I can print it, preview it. I'm going to go ahead and click assign. And it's going to take me right to the tab about assigning. Okay, right over here. Now I can go ahead. I don't have any students in any classes, but if I did, I can assign it just to a few students. I can give it to all of them. I do have to give it a due date. Once I get a due date, I can go ahead and assign it. Okay, so that is assessments. So I'm all done with this. Go ahead and I click done. And this is where it is saved for the life of the adoption under the lesson that it's in. It's not going to be in some big bank. It's going to be saved under the lesson that it is in. Okay, so a couple things I do want to show you. This right here is where I live. I spend most of my time in lesson overview, activity, materials, and reading. This is where I am all of the time in my program. Okay. Lesson overview, in my teaching, the activity, the materials that I need, and what the students will be reading. One thing, though, that I do spend a little bit of time on is I do go to the settings. Okay. And settings is really, really, really helpful for you. And I'm going to tell you some of the places that you might want to do some changes on your settings. So if they're for 3, 4, and 5, they're going to be different Lexile levels. So you can actually turn that off so the students can see a different Lexile level or can't. So if you only want them to have Lexile level A, which is at grade level, tells you right on here, then you can go ahead and keep that. I just leave them both on. If you don't want them to do the lower grade level, which is Lexile B, you can turn it off. You can also do that individually by student too. You can also turn it off so they cannot have multiple attempts at lesson games. Okay. Now, another thing too, huge help, is the student access. If you do not want the students to have access to anything before you assign it, you're going to have students prior to assignment. I'm under settings, student access. I'm going to go over here and turn it on to none. Okay, so they have no way to see any of the activity unless they have the journal. Now you can't stop them from looking at a book, but you can stop them from looking at it online. You can also stop them from looking at the reading and the lesson game. Once I have made any of these changes, please make sure you click update. Okay. Another thing that if you choose to turn that off also is if you have this on, if you give an assessment online, they are going to be able to use the book. If you turn it off, they will not be able to view the book once you have assigned that test. So if you assign it to start immediately, as soon as you assign it, students will not be able to look at the test. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I'll click update. Now they will not be able to see anything until I assign it. Okay, not be able to see anything. So over here, under assignments, I have to make sure if they only have online access, my students are 1-to-1, I want to make sure that I do assign it because I just under my settings turned everything off so they can't see it. So I come over here under assignments. And this is where I have to assign it to them. Right now, if you remember, the only thing I have is I have this assessment assigned to them. Okay. Now I've turned it off, so I need to make sure that I also assign them the reading so they're able to see it. So I just go to create new and I have a blank slate here. Okay. I'm going to pick the lesson, and you'll notice on here that red asterisk, every time you see it, no matter what it is a mandatory fill-in. So I was in lesson 1. I'm going to assign them the reading, all of it. Who do I want to have it? My classes. When do I want them to complete it by? The 19th. Okay. Now, enforced due date, students cannot submit any assignment after the due date. So if you have notebook assignments in there that you want them to complete, if you click on that enforced due date, they won't be able to submit anything after that due date. Okay. I leave mine open, completely up to you what you choose to do. Once you have this all filled in, now my students will be able to see the readings from this lesson. Okay, and I still have my assessment on there. If I decided against it, go ahead, I can edit this, I can grade it, and I can go ahead and also delete it. I don't want to give that anymore. Okay, so if in the settings you put it on there so students cannot see anything ahead of time, please make sure you go through and you assign it. Create new, and then it will give you all of those. Pretty simple. It's very, very much self-explanatory on there, just kind of following along with there. So a couple of things that I do want to show you guys. This bottom part over here, the reference, has a lot of great things in there. I call it the back of the book. But there is some things on here though that are not necessarily in the back of the book. And one of those things that are super helpful in the back of the book, as in the map section and the glossary section, is this civics library. Awesome activities on here. There are many lessons to help with civic participation. Okay, to help with all of them are here. So there are some excellent lessons here for your students to go ahead and do. I just want to give a little plug in. September is the month about citizenship. Constitution Day is in September. So great time to go ahead and take a look at this. You're also going to find a bunch of other great other lessons to do under support. So if you click under support, there are a ton of program supports that are also in here to help you out. Now, here's the thing. As you go through, you are not going to find anywhere in there where it says when you're going through and reading your classroom activity, looking at the slides there, they're not going to say on there, go to the program support, look under the vocabulary toolkit. It's not going to say that. These are here as additional helps for you. The first one up here is going to be some on-demand webinars. And if you do any of those on-demand webinars, been able to get TCI certified in it. The TCI approach, okay, and what it has to do with our classroom environment, elements of the TCI lessons, multiple intelligences, and where you see that on there. Civics resources are also here. There are some toolkits, a little bit less than what you saw under the reference part. Okay, but I will tell you right here, love this, the current event toolkit. Love, love, love it. Being a civics teacher on January 7th, 2021, let me just tell you, was not easy. And couple months after, we did do current events, and we did talk a very, very, very little about it, but I do have to cover current events. So that did help me out tremendously. Social studies skills. One thing that the teachers in my school use every single year are these map skills. Okay, every single year are the map skills. So besides doing the chapter that we did in 3rd grade, which is an awesome chapter, if you guys did not have it in 3rd grade, or you think that your students need a little bit of sharpening up on their map skills after you do that geography unit, you are welcome to go ahead, and there's the toolkit right there. Also in that toolkit, there's some critical thinking and personal finance literacy toolkit. Oh, so important, so very important. Okay. And as I said, you're not going to find anything that references to these, but these are just helpful things to kind of help you along if you need any additional support. And we have, these are some more handouts to help you with it, with vocabulary, reading, speaking, listening, and I did say vocabulary, writing, I forgot writing, vocabulary development, differentiation, assessment strategies, another one. How in the world, where do you see formative and summative? And to help you with that, where you're going to see that on there. Okay. The parent, family, and community resources, letter to families about what they're going to be doing, and the pacing guide. The pacing guide is done in minutes as opposed to days, because you know, some places, I've been some places in the country where they have 45 to 50 minutes every other day for social studies. And like in my district, we had 20-25 minutes, and that was it. So that pacing guide is done by minutes. Okay. Okay, and one final thing is these overview and projects. I did show you those on there before, but that is going to be the lesson specific one. So you're going to see those overviews. Okay, that's going to take me automatically to the first one because that's where it is. Okay, so that's where you're going to find it right on here. Okay, so if you're looking at the units, it is going to take you right to the unit openers. Okay, guys, we have about 4 minutes left. So if anybody has, how are we doing with questions, Sarah? How are we doing?
We're good on questions, Kathleen. I haven't seen any that have come up.
Okay. Okay, does anybody have any questions that they would like to go ahead that you'd like me to go back over? So that's what we got about, as I said, we got about 4 minutes.
Oh, so there's one question that just popped up in chat.
Okay.
About so is there a pre-lesson to help us introduce and navigate the site online for students?
Okay, hold on. Let me go ahead and read that. Okay, so I don't know if there is a scavenger hunt. That is a great question because we used to have one for students. That is an excellent question. You know what, Sarah, can we go ahead and send that over to info@teachtci.com?
Yeah, I will do that right now.
Thank you. Thank you. Angela, great question. I know that there used to be, what it did was it walked through students through everything. I'm not 100% sure we have one anymore. So Sarah and I are going to go ahead and send that. And oh, that tells me, it reminds me too. What I would do, Angela, is the email is, I'm gonna go ahead and put that in the chat. Okay. And I have stopped talking because I am unable, apparently today, to type and talk at the same time. So info@teachtci.com. So any questions that you might have, like they might come up later, or if you have any feedback on any of the programs, please feel free to go ahead and email to info@teachtci.com. They will answer your questions. Let us know if we're able to do that, if that's something in the works. Thank you for giving us that great idea. TCI does do 2 updates a year, one in December, and our big one is in June. And that's where they add in a bunch of stuff, and they're all from teacher feedback. And what I mean by that is teachers have suggested it, and that's how changes get made in TCI, is by teacher feedback. And because TCI is by teachers for teachers. So all of our account managers are former teachers, and all of our trainers are actual, like, I'm still in the classroom. So we really want to do what's best for you guys and make it ease of use and what's best for you.